Can you tell it's my first time doing this? Come on. This doesn't want to cooperate with me. So my next big project is a piece of furniture that's gonna go and replace at least 2 of those chairs. I'm gonna attempt to build a couch. I'm gonna sit on the back side closest towards the raised garden bed that I'm working on as well. I have all my wood. Those are gonna be the armrests. So those are 2 separate boxes. Put some pocket holes in them and wood glue them together. That's starting off with my base. And then I will work on the base frame where the seat cushions sit, and then work my way up to the back frame, hoping it won't take 2 months like I did with the door, but who knows? I am not good at estimating time, but I'm fairly confident on what I'm doing here and looking forward to having it done. This is something I've had in mind for about a year, I guess, since I got this whole backyard kind of, at least in the starting point, I guess phase 1, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I'm gonna call it a night tonight. I just wanted to get the first couple of cuts done. It's been a couple of months since I had the miter saw out, so just getting re-used to using that again. And tomorrow I'll get started with the pocket holes and putting that together, and then we'll go from there. All right, we are back at it again. Got the screws that I was waiting on. I had to order these special long, extra large screws for the armrests so I can drill pocket holes in those. I also wasn't super happy with how well the mitered edges were meeting each other, so I went back to the miter saw and dialed it in. It turned out that it wasn't completely calibrated to be at 90 degrees, and therefore when I went to do a 45 degree miter, it was slightly off. It was like 44.8 or something like that. So watched a few YouTube videos on how to do that and got it dialed in. Unfortunately, I think it's caused by the fact that this just sits on a mobile stand. So every time I collapse it and put it back in our shed, it messes it up. So it's probably something I'm gonna have to continuously do each time I need to make especially mitered cuts. But I did notice that when I made a 90 degree cut, it too was kind of wonky. So just have to keep an eye on that until I hopefully one day get my own workshop and can have a stationary miter saw set up. But yeah, let's go ahead and get these pocket holes screwed in. I got a special Craig jig. I don't know if I told you guys about this yet, but because I'm doing these pocket holes in a 4x4 board plank, I had to get the Craig jig. What is it? Craig pocket hole jig extra large. So that's what I have here. It comes with the jig, and then it comes with a clamp adapter. So if you don't have the Craig clamped, you can use this to clamp it down to the wood you're drilling into. And then again, a drill bit and the screwdriver right here. So I'm gonna get to that and hopefully get these assembled here before it starts raining. All right, so before I actually do it on the armrests themselves, I'm gonna test it out on a scrap piece of wood because I have a feeling that with me doing this on mitered edges, it's gonna be a little bit challenging. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take 2 mitered edges and put them together with clamps and then drill the pocket holes in this part just so that I can make sure the holes go through at a decent angle and it's not gonna cut through when I then screw in and come through the piece of wood. So I'm gonna work on that now and then hopefully we'll be golden. How am I gonna keep it squared? Oh, I have an idea. Hold on. Come on. Come on. This doesn't want to cooperate with me. All right, well, I broke down. I went to Home Depot and I got a strap clamp that hopefully will be much more effective than whatever it was I was trying to do, because that was not working at all. Um, yeah, it's a little frustrating when you're just doing this on your own, but most people do these kind of projects on their own. So I'm gonna finish all the pocket holes and then clamp them together, and then hopefully we'll have 2 armrests here in a little bit. That was pretty intuitive, but the real test is whether or not I can get the screw in without this sliding out of the way. It is a new day, and yesterday was incredibly frustrating, and it just shows kind of where I am at my skill level, and actually did something kind of dumb in terms of not even considering a glue up first. So I ended last night with an incredibly frustrating situation where the wood kept shifting and wasn't lining up the way I wanted it to. So I just cleaned up and went in and made dinner, walked the dogs, slept on it, woke up this morning and just did some Google searches, and light bulb went off. Yeah, I needed to glue up first. So I've already finished one of the arms. This one, it got glued up this morning. I let it sit and cure, and then I screwed it in place. So that one should be good to go. I am now on to the second one. I need to screw the pocket holes into the long ends, and then I'm going to glue up and assemble and put the belt straps around it and hopefully be able to screw it within the next hour or so. Yeah, that's the situation. So let's get to gluing up. Now this part, I'm not exactly sure if it absolutely needs to be done, but it needs sense in my head. Okay, now let's let that sit and dry. And then we'll come back and we will go ahead and screw it together. All right, so glued both the armrests, screwed them together. Now I'm gonna go through and just lightly sand down at the seams just to make sure they're all nice and smooth, and also make sure all the seams on the outside are properly clamped together. With the sanding, I'm not gonna film that. You know what sanding is. We all know it's boring and we all know it's tedious, but it's a job that has to get done to make it look great. But when I get back to working on the little seams, and if there's any gaps, I'll show you guys how I'm doing that. So what I'm about to do is right here, there's a slight gap. So I'm gonna take a screwdriver, kind of rub it over here, and then take some wood glue and sand it just to close it up and make this look a little nicer. And I have to do that on all 4 corners of this piece. And then once I'm done with that, I'm gonna see if I can do something about the inside corners and just cleaning those up a little bit too. And then some of the seams are a little too separated, so I'm hoping some wood glue and sanding over that will help as well. I just do like this, apply pressure across just to kind of close those wood fibers up a little bit. There we go. And then take some wood glue, just push it in there the best I can. .100 grit paper here. There we go. Now let's take a look at the seams themselves. All right, take a look here. There's some kind of gaps right here. I'm gonna do similar to what I did on the corners outside here, and just with some wood glue and sanding, see if I can get those filled up more seamless. There's also a way to do wood filler if you don't have wood filler, is to mix up sawdust, sanding dust, and wood glue. And it also then matches your grain a lot better than if you were to buy pre-made wood filler. New day, new very hot day. I have moved on to the frame of the couch. What I have cut up here is, this is going to be the front piece, this is the back piece. These are the supporting slats going lengthwise, that the cross slats will go on top. And then that piece right there is the top back piece, so kind of where your back neck area would rest against. I have discovered that I've shorted myself on wood, so I need to make a Home Depot run. Again, this is like the second or third day in a row, to go get, I think I just need one more piece. I'm gonna look at my measurements that I need and make sure, but one more piece of that one, and then I can continue on with my cutting. I still need to cut the slats, and I actually need lengthwise to cut these down so that the width of them, they're 1x8, but I couldn't do a 1x6 because I wanted to be more. I think the width I'm supposed to have is a 1x6 1/3. So I need to shave off some of the width on each of these wider boards. And then I'm actually going to sand them down. They're kind of rough and I don't want us to get any splinters. And then I can start assembling that part, move on to the slats that we'll sit on, and hopefully I can get it all. I don't think I'll get it done today, and we're going to be out tomorrow, so hopefully by Sunday it's ready for staining. Set it here, we'll see. I always underestimate, but I think that's a common thing for DIYers, woodworkers. I was watching a couple other YouTube channels this morning while I was getting ready, and both of the two people that I watched both said that they consistently underestimate how much time they're spending, so it must be a thing we do. Anywho, I will run to Home Depot and then come back in here. I figured I'd take you with me as I drive to Home Depot. Talk about how I got into DIY woodworking. How did you discover it was an interest of yours? To me, I think it's kind of always been there. I remember helping my dad with wallpapering when I was young, painting, also laying tile. And then when I moved out on my own, I always wanted to make my own space kind of mine uniquely, and I think that's a thing we all do. But I didn't always have a lot of money, and I would have to come up with small, clever ways to tweak, whether it was buying new bedding that was on sale at Target or buying cheap paint. You know how Home Depot or Lowe's always has like the oopsie paint, so sometimes I would come across a color that I really liked. And then I would buy it and paint a wall or paint an entryway. I got really good at finding deals on Facebook Marketplace, also kind of building things. And the first big project that I actually built myself was a 10-foot long desk. This is when COVID hit. I felt I needed a little more room, kind of breathing room, so I took up the entire wall length and built a desk, and then it kind of grew from there. Now that we're finally in our own house, my desire and creativity that's kind of been held back has now come completely out. I was able to take a woodworking class for beginners. We built a small little tiny cabinet, but what really helped me in that class was being comfortable and knowing how to safely use power saws, such as a miter saw, a table saw. That was something that seemed very daunting to me before I took this class. And after taking the class and moving into our house, it's just freed up so much for me to do on my own. I feel much more confident going into each project. I learn from every single project that I have done so far in the house. I have known I wanted to build this couch for about a year. I found it on a website. I'll put up where I found it so you guys can see like my inspiration for it. But I didn't think I could do it a year ago. I didn't think I had enough practice. In my mind, I've been kind of planning it out and visualizing step by step how I would approach it until I just got to the point where now I'm just procrastinating because I'm so afraid. And it had nothing to do with using power tools. It had nothing to do with really the outcome. It's more of, I want this to look good and I want this to be something that's solid that we can all sit on and enjoy. It's going to be by our fire pit. And I just had to kind of push myself and say, you know what, you got this. And I'm not saying this project has been easy. I mean, it took me 3 days to do just the armrests, but I am enjoying this process and feeling the confidence that's building in me. And really and truly, my biggest goal within this hobby is to be able to do all of the cabinetry in our house when we are able to do our remodel that we have envisioned. I think it would be really cool for me to one day be able to do a full kitchen build, a full bathroom build on my own. I think that would be just amazing skills to have and to build on. So we'll see. But I'm pulling up to Home Depot now, so I'm gonna go inside, get that last piece of wood, and we'll get back home and really get the cuts for the framework done today. So I got back from Home Depot, got the wood I was missing. I am now gonna work on the width of the plank, styled this in to be able to just whip through 3 of the boards at 4 inches, and then I have to readjust for 2 boards to be cut at 6 1/3 inch. All I have to do is lower down that blade because it's way too high and that's kind of dangerous. I need to put the, I'm drawing a blank on what it's called. It's basically to prevent it from pinching together on with the blade. So I'm gonna do that and then we're gonna whip through these boards and be on our way. We're getting closer. I had to take yesterday off. We actually took the day and went to Jacksonville, and John picked up a computer that he wants to do some work on. So today is my dedicated day to work on this. So my plan for today is to get through sanding. I'm gonna lightly sand the slat, probably do a more in-depth on the back pieces because those will be visible, and then just round off some of the corners where I know we're gonna be in contact and we just don't want any sharp edges. And then we're on to assembly. I really hope I can do that today, but time just goes by so fast. So we'll see what we get to. It is supposed to rain tomorrow, so I wouldn't be able to stain it. We'll see. I'll have to play it by ear and see how far I get. Well, we got sanding done and I'm starting to lay out how this is going to be assembled. What you see here kind of laying flat is actually going to be the back, and then we have the sides that will get attached to the armrests, and then way over here is actually the front of the seat, and then of course we have the armrests over there. Next thing I need to do to determine which one of those armrests go on which side, and then what's going to be on the outside and kind of the nicest side. However, I'm struggling a little bit with the angles for the 15 degrees because I want the longest side where the angle starts and goes down. So it took me a little bit to just wrap my head around it, but we're at a good point now. I'm gonna start drilling pocket holes in. So I'm gonna drill pocket holes in the side pieces, this back piece, so it can get screwed into the long pieces that go up the back. I don't think I'll need any pocket holes in the front piece. So should be good to go now and can start assembling very, very soon. Yesterday was an interesting day. I struggled quite a bit with my phone storage filling up because all my recordings are done on my phone. I didn't realize it right away, and when I did, I didn't want to just stop because I couldn't film. So I made some progress yesterday. I have the full frame. So you're looking at the back side of the couch. I've not attached the armrests. They're just there for a visual for me right now and determining where I want the armrest to go. But as you can see, the full frame is now assembled for the seat, and then I put the slats in. A couple of things that I did is these kind of in-between slats here are screwed straight into 2x2 right here, whereas the center board and the edge boards are pocket holed and they go into the front and the back there. And that was just to give me more stability and keep things nice and tight basically and keep it rectangular. And then I also put these backs up right here, and they're supported both into the 2x2 as well as the sideboards on each side here. I'm gonna put the top up here now. I have to screw some pocket holes into that, and then once that's attached, I can go ahead and put the slats that are supposed to be on the back. And once that's done, all I have to do is attach the armrests, and then it's fully assembled, which is crazy to me. Finally here. Yeah, once that's all attached, we're supposed to get rain this afternoon, so I feel like I'm competing a little bit with the rain. But once that is attached, I'm gonna go ahead and try and stain it just so that it's protected at least with one coat of stain. I am doing the same color as this table. It should be kind of a darker brown stain that will go onto this. That way they're matching. And then I can get the cushions on and we can call it a day. Work through that. Oh my god, I am so in love with this. All right, so I'm gonna let that glue kind of set up. While that's doing that, I'm gonna actually go ahead and get the slats for the back. So I realized something. I haven't confirmed or done any test fits. So you're gonna get to see with me if I did my measurements accurately and that this gap will fit this and that this isn't too short. It's too long, that's easier to fix, but I don't wanna be too short. Okay, so that one is a little too long. Yeah. About a quarter inch too long. Yes, I have about a quarter of an inch that I need to take off, which is great because I do want to miter it at the top of the bottom so it fits better. Right now it's kind of an awkward square against angle. I'll go get the saw out, we'll take care of that, and by then the glue should have set enough where I can screw in on the top, and then I can add pocket hole screws to the ends here and then screw those in place as well. I got all the pieces cut down. See the little beveled edge there, so I'm going to go ahead and drill pocket hole screws so that I can attach them on the top and the bottom. Then it's onto the armrests. Except for the middle one, each one is too big. So I'm gonna draw a line on each one of them and make a cut again, and we'll get back in business. Whew, that was a little stressful, but we got it done. Now it's just the armrest. Gotta screw those in and have to make some feet. I wanna put some blocks under here just to give it a little bit of a raise, because you can tell this is a really low seat, so just to lift it up a little bit. I have some leftover 4x4, but I can just cut those down. I'm gonna go ahead and get this situated, and then I can't believe it, we should be able to get the whole thing together. All right, armrests are in place, ready to be screwed in place. They're attached, they're sitting pretty good. Right now they're just attached to the base. I need to get a smaller Kreg jig to, I'm gonna drill some pocket holes here so I can attach this part into here. That will make this more secure as well. I'm not letting that slow me down. I'm gonna go ahead and stain this. I'll just leave those two boards exposed and then stain them after, and then we should be good to go. am so in love with this couch. It's exactly how I pictured it to be, and it came together pretty easily once I figured things out. I can't wait to have friends over, host this. It's gonna be great. I do plan to make 2 matching chairs to replace these 2 chairs. I might even do a little bench right here, just to make it more of a surrounding around the fire pit. We do want to change that fire pit out with like an actual fire pit. Right now it's just a propane one. But yeah, I couldn't be more happy with this. It's comfy. I've already spent some time out here reading. I can't wait. It's gonna be great. We're gonna love this so much.